All right, hello everybody, and welcome to the June 10th, 2025 iteration of the Kubernetes SIG-Windows community meeting. As always, these meetings are recorded and uploaded to YouTube, so be sure to adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct. All right, let's get started. Announcements, I think announcements are mostly the same as last week. Kept freeze is next Friday, and the PRR review team has just requested that all of the KEPs have all of the PRR sections completed for any KEPs that are being proposed for the next release cycle, all filled out by the 12th, which is 2 days, so that the PRR teams have the chance to review. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to announce? No. No. All right. That's that. I think next is we give it a little bit of space if there's any new contributors who want to introduce themselves. So if anybody's new to the call wants to introduce themselves, feel free to unmute or raise your hand, and we'll yeah, just interested in what people are doing, but totally optional. All right. I think next we'll talk a little bit about the KEPs that we're going to progress. I think do you want to start? Do you have any updates on the node shutdown cap? I think that there were some discussions in the cap updates. Should we try and cover some of those?
Yeah, I'm trying to push it from alpha to beta, but Sergey asked for some production actual usage. I replied that this is a comparable feature with Linux, but yeah, we do not have usage, and I'm thinking that maybe it's hard for us to push it forward in this release. My plan is currently adding more tests from other node level and also add this CapZ level test, and maybe we can push in the following release. But it's hard for this 1.34 release. It looks. That's basically the status for graceful shutdown.
Yeah, oops, yeah. So I think this is coming from, let me dig it up. There were some in in caps. SIG architecture had a new cap that um is called out here, and this was discussed at the I think the most recent SIG node meeting as well, and they're basically wanting, I think, making it a little bit more strict about going to beta. They're basically saying that when something goes to beta, then they would like all of the, where is it? Like all functional security monitoring testing requirements are done along with resolving all issues and gaps identified prior to being enabled by default. And this is done because they're really trying to, SIG Architecture, who owns some of the enhancements, are really trying to stress that they want anything that is enabled by default or on by default or going to beta to really have zero impact to customers, zero negative impact to customers. Um, there was in the past ways, well, So they're even wanting like new feature gates for new behaviors. Um, let's Yeah, so we're changing how we evaluate beta and grade or beta and GA. Beta criteria must include all functional security monitoring testing requirements. I think I've my thoughts are we do want I do think that we we do have all of the testing that we want to be done potentially laid out. Um and let me see what Sergey says and that we might still want to try and push this to beta so that we can, in case we do get all of the testing done, but I could also see Sergey's argument. Um, does anybody have any thoughts around this? It doesn't seem like, I don't know if Sergey's pushing back on this or just making sure that we're aware of what this means if it does go to beta.
Yeah, I think that for a feature to turn from alpha to beta requires production results. It's not very realistic. Nobody is going to deploy an alpha feature in production in a serious manner. So my thinking is very much aligned with what Yang was saying. And we make sure that we have all the necessary tests and the test infrastructure enhanced so that this feature is enabled by default on the CAPZ cluster. We have proper node level and E2E level tests, and hopefully that's sufficient to demonstrate the quality of this feature and demonstrate the usage of this feature, not necessarily in production, but in the test infrastructure, in all the tests that we are running on a daily basis. That would be good enough to qualify for beta. That's what I'm thinking. And I don't mind to push this for beta and see if they push back. Or I don't know whether that's how the business is done in this community. Is even though that we receive a comments like this, we can still present our case and present all the work that laid out for the next few months, um, and tentatively um, set our goal as moving to beta in this release. And if we can get that done, sure. In the end, it won't be switched to beta by the end of 1.34. But if we get all the tests that we plan for done, is that good enough for beta?
Yeah, that's my thoughts too. It seems like Sergey's asking for just real life usage, not necessarily production usage, because
Mm,
I agree that it's not really realistic to expect production, like
mm.
any production workloads to use an alpha feature. Um, so I think I'm still inclined to comment, and I'll comment after the meeting. Saying just that we are planning on enabling this for all of like this feature for all of the CapZ tests that we run in Kubernetes, which is a majority of the Windows coverage. And we will plan on like not promoting it to beta until we get sufficient coverage on that. Like let it run for, I don't know, a week, hopefully, or more. And see what Sergey says.
Sounds good
Because
to
I think
me.
without like no cloud provider is going to enable well it's very rare that cloud providers are going to enable alpha features to get this testing done. So I think
Yeah.
that's probably the best path forward is say we'll hopefully try and progress this to beta in this release, and but if the test coverage doesn't isn't in by by close to code freeze, then we'll postpone the graduation until the next release. Mhm. I think that's probably all we can do. Sorry, Yuan Liang, did you have anything else to say?
Yeah. So yeah, but another blocking issue is that the CPZ image is not being used for our test. So even I publish the image, it cannot still be adopted. We must first resolve the issue of the flaky test with the latest image.
Is there a pull request on that? I remember seeing that. Is there a link to that? So there's a flaky what's going on with the image?
Do you remember that we rewrote the image for the latest for the master release, for the master test, only 1.30 and 1.33. So even my changes and publish a new image to from CPZ, still cannot be adopted by the
Do we know what's going on with
yeah,
those?
I'm still trying to reproduce. So I currently created a CPZ cluster under my Microsoft subscription, from which I can deploy more agent, which can get more event from, for example, HNS or HCS lower level. And also I'm trying to enable a pipeline to run against this cluster. So I can query the test result from Kusto, etc. So, but still, I'm still trying because this feature is not, it is kind of random and it's hard to.
We did in the past have a test pass that, yeah, like this CI Kubernetes E2E cat Z master Windows alpha, which was intended to run with alpha features enabled, so we do set extra feature gates here. In the meanwhile, like while those investigations are going on, it might make sense to turn on, like, to make sure that this image or like this test pass is using the latest image from Image Builder that has everything set up to do this, and turn on the feature gates for the node graceful shutdown for Windows, and then we can get a little bit of test coverage that way. And
Okay.
and then I think we'll just understand that yes, there are going to be some issues with where some of the network related tests can flake. But this will allow us to start getting coverage and that feedback, I think hopefully almost immediately, until we figure out what was going on with the Windows patch levels.
Okay. Yeah. I will enable one of these CR
Okay.
alpha tests. Okay.
Yeah, let me. Um, wow, I cannot type this morning. Okay. Yeah, we can fill that out afterwards too. I think that's hopefully a okay kind of step straightforward. And especially if we enable that sooner, like before kept freeze, we can point that to Sergey too and say we've got, regular test coverage for this and we're planning on adding more. At least test coverage with the feature enabled to make sure that it doesn't regress any behavior. And then we'll still have the extra node EDE tests coming online to really validate the feature.
Okay, we will try that.
Okay, sounds good. And then I think we had the one other kept for the kube proxy images. I know I saw a pull request open for that. I haven't had a chance to look at that yet. Let me. Is that which one is? Did we have an update for the? I'm looking here. For this one.
Yeah, actually, I have sent you the link for the.
Okay, I've found it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we'll take a look at this. I don't think that there was much more work to be done, right?
Yeah.
These features have been used for a long time, so I think we can hopefully just progress them to GA.
Okay.
I'll take a look at this one. Is this? Let me just trigger the. Okay, and then yeah, I'll look at reviewing this, and anybody else feel free to review this too right away. Yep, I think this one should be more straightforward, and this one does have a lot of production use. I think a lot of at least on Azure, we're using the DSR flag, and then all of the Windows test passes have used the overlay flag with Calico networking for several releases, so we should be good there. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to discuss today at the agenda or at the meeting? Into the agenda. I think we're almost out of time.
Hello. Hello. Hi. Good morning. Actually, I want to ask two things. First one regarding that node graceful shutdown. So we want to add new tests. Like, are those tests already in place? We just want to enable them, or actually we do want to implement new test cases for that feature?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so for E2E test, we already have one test in place, but that will need the feature gates and also need to run Kubernetes as a Windows service itself. For the node level, we are trying to add we are also trying to add node level test as well. That part. The first PR is going to add a test framework for Windows node level E2E tests. And then we will add other tests, including the graceful shutdown. That's the plan.
Sure. Like, so yeah, like I am interested in adding test. Like if you need any help, please, you can ask me. Like I will probably try to add some test. I will try to find some time to do that. So yeah, like if you need any help on from that end, I am available, and yeah, like we can chat offline as well.
Okay, great. Yeah, but the current test is under E2E Windows is something called node shutdown. That's a E2E level test at the present.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sounds good. And another one is from the like 2 weeks back, we were discussing about that kubelet crashes. I just want,
Processors, yes.
yes. So actually wanted to see like if there were any findings from Azure side like about that issue. We are ourselves didn't had any new finding or new clue around that, but just wanted to ask if there is anything that you can share with us like that will help us further debug deep uh, dive deeper into this issue. Lynn, the question is for you.
Yeah, I don't think there's much progress. We have been waiting for our customer that reported that issue
Hmm.
to provide the config map. And
Okay.
as of today, I think last night I got a ping from the internal AKS team indicating that they finally got the the response from their
Okay.
customer. We
Okay.
haven't tried to repro that internally
All
yet.
right. Yeah.
So on your side, are you still seeing that issue consistently?
Yes. Yes. We
Okay.
are seeing that issue and we are able to reproduce it as well. And it's fairly straightforward for us to reproduce.
Oh, okay. So then is there a way to collect, I don't know, Mark, is it a crash dump or what are the good call stacks and what are the good things to kind of investigate this kind of issue if we have a consistent repro?
I mean, there should be, if it really is a crash, a panic log for Golang, but those are very difficult to debug in because there's so many outstanding Go routines in the kubelet that the panic log is just like absolutely massive and trying to weed through that. Um, I don't know, Claudia, do you have any suggestions for that too? I think you've done a fair amount of debugging.
Only if we do live debugging, that would be a little bit more useful. Other than that, I don't really have any ideas. We do have a set of collection scripts that we run in the CI. Maybe that will also be useful. What do you think?
I'll have to dig those up. Those get things like some Windows ETW events and other things. Yeah, that might be a good place to start. Let me real quick. Is it in
Okay.
the image builder?
Yeah. Yeah. Like if please send me that link. I will take a look into those scripts as well. Maybe they will help. So what I was trying to do on my side was actually adding some debug logs myself in the kubelet uh, to see to
That
basically drill down, uh, you know, the event or the code execution where the crash is happening. I didn't find anything useful yet. I will probably do add more logs. But yeah, like
where is
that's what I have been trying to do.
Just to make sure I remember correctly, this was the huge crash that was reported some time ago,
Yes,
which had
yes,
a 1,000 line dump of Go
yes,
routines and so on.
yes.
Question: have you tried running kubelet with the debugger? Typically,
No.
when you run things with a debugger, when it crashes, it will stop at the crash itself.
Hmm. Hmm.
Most typically, you could try using Delve and basically running kubelet with Delve. And whenever the crash happens, you would at the very least see where exactly it crashes, typically.
Yeah. I haven't tried debugger yet, but yeah, like
Mhm,
that was one of the next things I wanted to do. What was the name you were
mhm.
saying? Delve?
Yes, Delve, DELVE.
Got it.
It's the standard Golang debugger.
Okay.
It's working fairly well. Just make
Hmm.
sure that the Delve version matches the Golang version, or
Hmm.
more exactly, what version it has been built.
Built
Delve
with. Okay.
matches, yeah,
Hmm.
because otherwise you might end up with some issues on Windows.
Sounds
I've
good.
had I've had instances in which Delve will stop running on Windows if those versions would mismatch.
Hmm. Hmm, hmm,
But
hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I will look into that as well.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, unfortunately, I need to drop for the SIG node meeting where they're doing more KEP planning. So I'm gonna end the meeting. Let's try and figure out what we can do to help debug that too. And thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Everybody around.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.